So I started watching Naked and Afraid last night.
Why? What?
I don't know. I like got on this like whole kick of like first I was like looking at Survivor, but then I was like, no, that seems like way too easy. And so like then Naked and Afraid popped up on my Hulu and I was like, okay, yeah, like let's watch this. Like I don't know. I got on like survivalist mode for some reason and I was like, yeah, let's learn how to like make a fire and survive in the
While
jungle
being naked.
while being naked for 21 days. Like let's watch people reach basically starvation.
Okay, Mo.
No, literally, I went on a binge yesterday and I watched about like 6 episodes. They're an hour each. I sat there for 6 hours yesterday and watched Naked and Afraid.
What the heck? Dude, I mean, I can't say anything. Let's go back to the time I watched Grey's Anatomy.
Okay, Grey's Anatomy's a trip, especially when you watch it all at once.
Yeah, but then Naked and Afraid. It's just like, what?
No, and literally, like, I don't even know, like, what that would be like. But literally, I'm sitting there, like, on my couch, like, oh, yeah, that guy's being such a pussy. Like, just man up. And, like, oh, why is she complaining so much?
Like, get over it, you broke a nail, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Or, like, oh, my gosh, they're always complaining about the bugs and stuff and the mosquitoes. But then I sit here and think, and I'm like, man, yeah, I would complain about the mosquitoes,
You're like,
too.
yeah. You know how they can bring, like, a certain item, right?
Yeah.
Bug spray.
Bug spray.
Honestly, no one ever does that. It would be the best item to bring.
I know. But actually, I actually went online and looked up, like, Naked and Afraid secrets and stuff, and they're actually allowed to bring, like, 4 items.
Oh, really?
But they only ever show 1.
Wow. I would bring bug spray, like 100%. That would be my only item I bring, would be bug spray. I'm not getting malaria.
Like, people sitting here bringing, like, machetes and stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna bring bug spray.
Like, I can make a machete, but I can't get rid of these bugs.
No, and, like, that's what I feel like the thing that drives the most people in this show to, like, insanity is all of, like, the mosquito and bug bites that they end up getting. I would not be able to understand, like, because I get bit by bugs really easily. Like, mosquitoes really love me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would not be able to
you could just eat a lot of
it.
salt and vinegar chips before you actually did it.
I also found out, too, that, like, termites' nest has, like, an actual chemical in it that wards off bugs. Mosquitoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so in, like, one episode, they actually, like, burnt a termite nest to get rid of the bugs. Didn't work, but it was, good thinking.
They tried.
I mean,
smoke also. You can literally just sit in the smoke and you'll be fine.
A majority of them, like, they were like, oh, the fire will ward off, or, like, the smoke will ward off, like, all the bugs and blah, 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 blah. Didn't work. They were all like, man, this fire sucks. Like, it's not doing anything. Like, there's bugs everywhere. And, like,
Bug spray. That is okay, guys. Mo and I are going to be on Naked and Afraid. And I'm bringing bug spray. 100%.
Bug spray.
What are some of the other secrets, the behind the scenes of Naked and Afraid?
Is that they actually do get help from production and stuff.
They get what?
Help from production.
Oh, do they?
Mm-hmm. Well, like, contestants have actually stolen food before from the production team.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And, like, they said even, like, one contestant stole, like, a pack of emergency from the production.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it's not like they don't receive any, like, medical help or anything like that. Like, sometimes, you see every once in a while, like, a medic comes over when somebody's, like, sick or blah, 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 blah. But there was actually, like, one time that there was a girl that got food poisoning. She had food poisoning for 3 days. And then on the 4th day, she was, like, miraculously better. And so she continued on until the extraction day. But what we don't know about that is that producers that night gave her 2 IV drips. But they hid it. And they just made it look like she was sleeping. But they gave her 2 IV drips and some, like, baby food and all that kind of stuff to get it out.
Well, they don't want her to die.
Well, yeah. But they also wanted to, like, get her, like, to extraction day and stuff. Like, because they can tap out at any time. Like, I just watched one, and this girl, oh my god, she was not made for this. She tapped out at, like, day 7. And then the guy was there for 14 days by himself.
How long are you naked and afraid in the woods?
21 days. It's like, full 3 weeks.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could make 3 without eating that whole time. Wait.
No.
That's...
You have to have protein or your muscles will start to deteriorate. You don't have any energy and you wouldn't be able to do anything.
mean, could you just like vibe in one spot the entire time?
That's what they normally do, is that they go somewhere, they build a shelter, usually close to a body of water. And then they usually like hunt, build things, and like all that kind of. And then they usually have to walk like 5 miles somewhere to get to like the extraction point, which is where they pick them up at.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Also, we've talked about Naked and Afraid for 5 minutes. I think it's time to move on.
I want to talk about this one girl.
Oh, okay.
This one girl, because she really made me mad.
Okay.
It was
Mo.
when
Let it all out,
in
buddy.
Guyana,
What?
Africa.
Oh, okay.
And they were like in the
Uganda?
No, it's Guyana or something.
Oh, I thought you said Uganda.
Guyana or something. It's like in like Africa, in like the savannah.
Okay.
And so they dropped them off at one point, and they had to walk about 3 miles to actually get to the jungle part of where they needed to be to get water. And of course they're walking through the like savannah, and it's like 109 degrees out, and so the guy is sitting there and he's like, okay, let me rub this like mud all over me so I don't get sunburnt and I don't get heat stroke and all that because the UV rays and shit. And literally the girl just sat there and did nothing, didn't rub mud on her or anything, and the guy was like, I don't know why she didn't, and the guy was like, well, do you want to rub some? And she's like, no, I'm good. And they kept on walking, and this girl literally, it was the first day, and she was already throwing up. Like,
she's doing great.
And she literally didn't do anything the whole time. Like, she went and either like sat in the water, because she was like too hot, or she kept like, being nauseous or like throwing up because she just seemed really stupid, and she was really making stupid choices.
Sweet girl. I mean, that would have been me.
But there's actually a $5,000 prize at the end of Naked and Afraid if you can make it all the way through.
Yeah, not worth it.
But they have like a Naked and Afraid XL, where it's 40 days instead of 21 days.
Oh, no.
And it's $23,000.
It's still not worth it.
But yeah, they do get a prize at the end if they can make it all the way through to 21 days.
I mean, $5,000 for 3 weeks of work, that is what? About
But then again, you've also like your risk
a week?
for...
You could just get a good job.
Well, you're also at risk for like starvation, dehydration, incubation of bacteria.
Exactly. Like the long-term effects, I feel, will be way more
Food
than
poisoning,
$5,000.
Dengue fever, all
yeah,
those.
Exactly. Like, no, $5,000 is not enough.
I don't know. Like one of the guys did it. He was like, "Oh, I'm wanting to open up like my own survivalist like camp area." And
well, then he would be cut out for it. Yeah.
Well, he was like, I was actually wanting to just test myself to see if I could even make it the 21 days. He's like, if I can make it the 21 days, and he's like, I know I have the skill set to teach other people how to do this or how to like be a survivalist.
Wow, he's good at this. We would not have done well in this at all.
No,
Great.
Let me tell you, I wouldn't have and this one girl, she's like, let's go catch a gator to eat, and like she's like, let's go catch a like alligator. And like the guy's like, I ain't going near no alligator.
Like, I ain't getting no alligator.
And
we
she
ain't
was like,
dying today.
No, this girl literally trained how to handle alligators for this specific reason. Like, she's like, I know how to like handle an alligator and how to like, pin it and stuff. And so she was like literally walking into like alligator nests and all that kind of stuff. And the guy was like, what the hell are you doing?
I love it. We're going to get some gators, aren't we?
We're going to get some gators. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bingers Anime Edition. As always, I'm your host, Mo.
And I'm Matty, and we're just a little podcast that talks about different animes with fellow weebs out there. But yeah, so, Mo, it was our first week of classes back. Your last semester.
Oh my gosh.
How does it feel?
It feels like almost unreal.
Yeah.
But like, I'm ready for it.
Dude, literally, think about it. You'll never have to go to school again.
I have to go to school for one more year, but...
Okay, but it's like school.
Yeah, and then I'll like hopefully get a job, so...
Fingers crossed.
Gonna be adult.
Oh
my gosh.
Start that retirement fund, baby. Start it young. I know. Like, I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, our entire lives has been school.
I know.
And then we're not going to have school. And then we have
work.
Which...
when you think about it, it's like, man, we actually live to just go to school and work and then die.
Yeah. Like, okay, like, I like being an architect and stuff, but...
You're like, if I could sit here and just watch anime all day for like a living, I totally would.
I would. I mean, like, I don't mind work because I can just listen to podcasts, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what if, like, my whole life I have to do this?
You're like 60 and stuff, and you're like, another day going into the office.
Yeah, and just like 5 days a week working, 2 days off.
Dude, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we were doing this podcast into our 60s, though?
Can you imagine? We're at 60, like, oh, that other season of Or on High School Host Club finally came out. I remember when I watched that back in my day, whenever,
40 years ago.
40 years ago. That is only 40 years. That was just the most depressing thought I just had. It's only 40 years away from being 60.
Dude, we haven't even hit our 40s yet.
It just seems so near.
We haven't even hit half of that yet.
It seems so close.
He's like, it's 40 years. It's like, dude, we haven't even reached the halfway point to 60 yet.
But it's only 40 years. Oh, but like literally, I hope eventually the American workforce moves to 4-day work weeks and 3-day weekends. Yeah. That'd be nice. Because Sweden does it, and it's shown to do the exact same amount of productivity. Job satisfaction goes up, enjoyment goes up, enrichment goes up, efficiency goes up. But they still get paid for the same amount, but they just do 4 days a week.
And see, I feel like our government, like a lot of people would get really pissed about that, you know?
Yeah, and it's just frustrating because I think it would be really beneficial if we did that as a society. Because, like, we literally work 5 days a week for someone else to make money.
You're
to
not
get
wrong.
2 days off. The American workforce. The worst.
Government.
Oh, okay, I forgot to tell you this.
Okay.
Okay. You're not going to guess this, but I'm going to give you the option to guess.
Okay.
Guess what I am watching tonight with one of my friends in my fraternity. I'll give you a hint. It's a 3rd season of a show.
It's a 3rd season.
A 3rd season. Like, guess what show I'm watching with this person.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Have I seen it?
Yes, you have.
I've seen it.
Okay.
Okay.
Just think.
Ooh.
It's going to be tricky.
Okay, 3rd.
A 3rd season. And the 3rd season is the best season. Hands down. No questions about it.
And I've seen it.
You've seen it. You want me another hint?
Yeah.
Broaden your range. It's not just anime.
Oh, it's not just anime?
No, the show is not an anime.
It's not?
Something else, yes.
Oh my god.
I know.
Oh my god.
Like, what is it? There's so many options.
I'm sitting here thinking of anime. And I'm like, what?
It's one of our other favorite shows.
It's not Grey's Anatomy.
It's not Grey's. I hate Grey's Anatomy. You want me just to tell you?
Yeah.
It's American Horror Story.
Really?
We're watching Coven tonight.
Ooh.
I'm so excited. I'm ready. I was like, last night I was chilling with these guys, and I was like, "How do you guys like American Horror Story?" And he's like, "I've seen the 1st season." I'm like, "Bro, you want to watch the next season with me?" He's like, "Asylum seems scary," and I'm like, "Okay, Asylum's not like the best." So I was like, "What about we watch Coven?"
Coven's the better one.
Oh, hands down. And he's like, "Sure." I'm like, "Dude, Coven's like baller. Like, it's good. So we're gonna watch it tonight. I'm really excited. I don't know how much we're gonna watch tonight. Let's binge it all.
You can watch it a full night. I've done it before.
Yeah, it's like, what, 10 episodes?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So that's 10 hours?
Let me tell you, you can do it, like, totally.
Yeah, we'll shoot for 5 episodes.
I actually really liked Coven, and I really liked Apocalypse. I know you
haven't
seen it yet.
Because I can't get through Cult.
You can't get through Cult.
Yeah. But after tonight, I probably will just binge all American Horror Story this weekend.
I'm trying to remember what the plot point of Cult was.
The politics and the presidential election, and then like.
Oh yeah. That one, it wasn't very memorable. Like it was like okay, but it wasn't anything.
Yeah,
like...
it was kind of not great.
I just finished it and watched it.
But I heard 1984 is really good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. 1984. It's like 1985. It's like one of those.
Yeah, 1984 might be a different book that I'm thinking of.
I think you're thinking of like that
The Big Brother
Orwell book.
Yeah. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. Is there a new season coming out soon? There should be. It's almost October.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well,
no. It's not almost October.
No, because like they had like a new season, but because of like all of like Corona and stuff, they had to push it back. So we won't even be getting like a new season of American Horror Story until like this coming like September. It's really sad. Like it was really sad that I didn't get to watch American Horror Story during October.
Yeah.
Because that was always something that I loved to do, especially with one of my friends. Like, I would literally go over to her place and we would watch American Horror Story.
Oh, shoot. I got to watch the new episodes of AOT because I'm supposed to watch it tomorrow with Holden. And we're also going to watch Fate. Yeah, that was funny because another friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his name, but he knows exactly who he is. We were going to watch stuff online over Christmas break.
Mm-hmm.
And he pretty much was like, well, he just never texts me back. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was like talking to him earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, like if you want to come over and watch AOT with us, we did the first episode together. He's like, oh, well, I'm probably just going to watch it online with some of my friends. And I was like, remember when we were going to do that? And he's like, yeah.
You know what I really want to anime I want to watch with someone? Ghost Stories.
Dude, I started it.
I really want to watch it
the other day with a friend while I was drunk, but I couldn't pay attention. So I was like, can we like watch something else? But Ghost Stories dub only.
It's because you're black.
It's because you're black.
I love the...
Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? No, I'm Jewish.
No, listen, I love the episodes with like the rabbit and stuff because she's like, I said jump.
I said jump, bitch.
Or it's like the rabbit.
Touch me harder.
Yeah, touch me harder.
Oh yeah, touch me harder. And then
there's that one kid that
there's that one kid that just makes all the weird sounds. It's like, yeah.
Or like that kid that's like coming down the stairs. He's like, "You're a bitch." And she's like, "What did she say?" She's like, "Oh, like something, you know." And he's like,
and there's like my favorite ones are the random side characters. Like, what are you kids doing over there? Oh, you little sillies, little funsies. And they're like, and I'm like, you can't say those things.
Oh. I really want to watch that with someone. I feel like I can't watch that by myself. That I need to watch it with someone. You can only watch with someone.
And it's like there's no line. It's so bad. And they're like, who's that lesbian in that photo? That's my mom. I'm like, oh, your mom's a lesbian?
Or like, why do all principals look like lesbians?
Right? Oh. Yeah. It's bad. But
I need to watch that with someone sometime. I really want to watch that with someone.
Yeah. It would be fun. Well, Friday.
Yes.
On Friday, we will have a little drinking.
We'll
watch Ghost Stories while drinking. It'll be a good old time.
Yes.
Alrighty. We've rambled far along. Do you have anything else you need to talk about?
No.
For all of our listeners to get an update on our lives. Living at school sucks.
What life? I don't have anything.
I feel that. My life this past week has consisted of me trying to mend my relationships.
I've watched Naked and Afraid. Do you really think I have anything else going on in my life?
You're not wrong. We will, I guess, review this absolutely amazing anime.
Don't roll your eyes. Do not roll your eyes.
I actually really like this anime. Guys, I'm excited to review this anime. Do you want to introduce the anime?
Yes.
How many times can I say anime in one sentence?
Let's count.
Let's count this anime. Let's watch it.
So this week, guys, we are reviewing Haikyu.
Yes, Haikyu.
Volleyball anime.
It's
sports.
Guys, okay, I'll be honest. Everyone's like, watch Haikyu, watch Haikyu. And I was like, I'm not watching a freaking sports anime. I'm not well, then I watched Free as my first sports anime, and that's just like a homoerotic like montage the entire time.
You're not wrong.
It's like the extremely homoerotic volleyball montage in Top Gun. Free was pretty much that the entire show for 3 seasons. But Haikyu, I was like, I don't want to watch Haikyu. It's a volleyball anime. This seems stupid. Guys, this is like one of the best animes I've ever watched in my entire life.
It's honestly because of how they mix in the comedy with.
Oh, there's so many. We will talk about it.
Let me get into some proto info before we start talking about it.
Yeah.
So Haikyu was adapted from a manga, as everyone knows, really popular manga. The anime was directed by Susumu Mitsunaka, but this person only directed episodes 1 through 60. And then 61 through the 85 is Masuko Sato.
Okay.
So we did change directors when season 4 started.
Yeah, and guys, it's noticeable.
Yeah.
And it's not bad.
I haven't seen the new season.
We saw
I really want
brief clips of it just a little bit ago. It is very different than the other one. I personally like the other animation style better, but I think it's also because that's what I started off with.
I feel like, though, even though like the animation has changed, I don't think the spirit of the show
No,
has
it definitely
changed.
is not. I just Asahi's face
between the
two.
Face.
I was like, oh no, and then like Coach Yukai, I was like, bro, that's not the same man.
I know.
This is the imposter.
It's the imposter. So the music is by Yuki Hayashi and Asami Tachibana, who Yuki Hayashi has done the Blue Spring Ride live action. I've never seen this before, but I know what Blue Spring Ride is.
Yeah.
You know, it's so I like this person didn't really have any notable animes that they've been music for. But the studio for Haikyu is Production IG, which we all know has done animes such as Eden of the East, Guilty Crown, Kuroko's Basketball, The New Prince of Tennis.
Makes sense.
You know, really all of the sports animes are, if you look, they're probably by Production IG.
Yes.
The original run for this anime is April 6th of 2014 to December 19th of 2020. It is not confirmed yet if there will be a 5th season, but we should know probably in a couple months.
Wait,
whether...
so is it caught up to the manga, or is there still more material they can do?
I think there's still more material.
Okay, gotcha. Hopefully they change producers.
Well, because, like, I think in the manga, they're, like, actually in college right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like all of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, so they finished the Nationals thing, and... Oh, well...
I think, like... They tell the stories of, like, some... Because, like, I know, like, in the manga, like, Tanaka and Kyoko are married.
What? Hold
Yeah.
on. How did that happen?
Yeah, Tanaka and Kyoko are married.
Okay. Well, okay.
It has 85 episodes and 5 OVAs.
Okay, cool. The genre for the anime is... It's a shonen, 100% shonen.
Shonen sports.
Yeah, it's a shonen.
And comedy.
Yeah. I can do a quick synopsis. The synopsis is also going to kind of just be like an intro to like the first couple episodes. Pretty much. After witnessing the tiny giant via video, our protagonist, Shoya Hinata, is...
I love how you can't read your handwriting.
Perceived. Determined to bring back his middle school volleyball club. It says volleyball train, but that doesn't make any sense.
Volleyball train.
Through his efforts and dedication, he's able to pretty much manipulate his friends into joining the volleyball club with him, and they go and even compete in a tournament where they get immediately squashed by another team who is run by the king of the court, Kageyama. And in this moment, Kageyama and Hinata determined to be rivals, lifelong rivals through everything, but with a twisted of fate. Wait.
With a twist of fate.
With a twist of fate, they become teammates in high school. Ooh. And then they join Karasuno, where because of their personality differences and their inability to work together, they are not allowed on the team. And together, they must overcome their differences, make each other stronger volleyball players and human beings in the process, and bring Karasuno to its former glory and allow it to spread its wings and fly again.
Wow, so poetic.
I
So poetic.
Thank you. Thank you. I tried really hard while eating pizza writing this. But yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis. I mean,
yeah, I was like Maddie was saying, basically Karasuno is like the underdog team, and it's basically from their whole point of view of trying to like get back to the top of like when they went to nationals and all
yeah,
that.
because years and years ago, the Tiny Giant allowed Karasuno to reach a point where they were very talented, and then
when they even actually made it to nationals.
Yeah, and they won, I think.
I don't think that they won.
Did they not win?
But they had made it to nationals, which in itself is an accomplishment for really any team, you know?
Yeah. And it's pretty impressive. But, yeah, they're, like, known as the wingless crows now because they no longer can soar. But, I don't know. That's pretty much the synopsis. General story. Is there anything else in the story you'd like to point out? I mean,
really, it's, like... almost like it's a coming of age story.
Yeah.
In like terms, and because, well, these characters go through like a lot of development.
Mm-hmm.
Like every one of them goes through some sort of character change, and like they either start learning to like love the game, or they learn things about themselves that they didn't know.
And that's what's so beautiful about the show is that a lot of sports animes they do this pretty well, but it's like they play in the sport, they achieve like success, and then like, you know, they grow as people, of course. Like as a team, you're drawn. That's pretty cliche. And even like normal sports shows, especially in Western culture, is just game after game after game. But in Haikyu, they do like massive training arcs that are like heavy, like
we maybe only get like a 4 to 5 episodes of the actual like tournament.
Yeah, exactly. And so then they train, and in those training arcs, you really learn what volleyball is. You, as the audience, feel like you understand what's going on. And there's a lot of character development in those training arcs, which is unique for shonen because a lot of times there's the training arc in shonen, which is like a homoerotic montage of them just like training with people, or they're getting like brutally beaten up the entire time, and then they suddenly become powerful at the end of it. Whereas in Haikyu, it is literally you watch them struggle, get there, and grow as individuals the whole time.
And sometimes it's like frustrating to watch them struggle because you kind of feel like part of the team, and you're like,
yeah,
I want them to get this.
Exactly.
You know?
And like and that's what's so engaging, I think, about the story is that not only is the games engaging, just because trust me, they're engaging.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Even the training arcs, you are like, yeah, keep
like
training.
Somebody gets that spike, and you're like, yeah, like oh. You know, they get their tempo right, and you're like, yeah, go. Tsukishima actually like blocks, and you're like, ah.
It's really, really good, and it's very enjoyable to watch, and I think that's what's so appealing about the story. But
there's also this like comedy aspect to the story that they add in. It's very, because like there are some points, it doesn't seem like it would get like a really heavy anime, but there are some moments that get really heavy.
Oh yeah.
And they definitely have a really good like comedy aspect that they're able to like, you know, relieve the tension. And especially the jokes are really funny.
Yeah, the jokes are actually funny. Like it's a lot of the character relationships, the way they interact with each other, it is humorous.
Yeah, and it's really like realistic, you know. It's like I feel like me and my friends would act that way toward each other.
Oh yeah, like it's not like, especially in shonen as well, a lot of times it's like, oh, you know, sword people, magic systems and stuff, whereas in Haikyu they extremely explain the volleyball system. And then the characterizations and the way the story is told is very realistic to how it would be if you were on a normal volleyball team or any sports team. You have to work your butt off to stay on the team. You have to work your butt off to stay on the court. You have to find a specialty to ever be on the court.
Also the aspect of like, they were able to explain the game very well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, it was like, even somebody who's never played volleyball before could understand what was going on. Like they explained every position and like how to do things, and you know, it was like, man, I became a volleyball expert after this. And like,
yeah, for sure.
You know, let's go.
And I think it's what's so appealing about it. Something I did want to point out is there's a lot of animes out there that do have an impact in like the anime community. Like I think we can also say Demon Slayer had a huge impact on Western culture when it came out. AOT had a big impact where you could just talk about anime where it's like your normal day-to-day, like as if it's Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Pokemon was phenomenal in itself, and like there's a couple other anime like One Punch Man, Dragon Ball, very iconic. Cowboy Bebop, very iconic
Sword
for
Art
anime.
Online.
Yeah, exactly. But Haikyu had a massive like real life impact, which is not often done in any anime. Doesn't tend to have that, but like in Japan, volleyball is like on a decline as a sport. But after the manga came out, like the numbers like increased quite a bit, and then after the anime come out, like the numbers of people playing volleyball, joining teams, like almost doubled from the years before. Which anime
That's like
doesn't.
insane.
That's insane, guys. Like anime doesn't have that impact normally in real life. That's not related to anime and otaku culture. But like.
Well, it's because like you don't see normally people going out and just swinging swords at each other.
Exactly,
And
like
stuff.
it's
And
not
so
real life.
when you get something like super realistic like that, and it actually encourages and makes you want to go do that thing.
Exactly, and that's what Haikyu. And even if Haikyu doesn't make you want to play volleyball, it will make you motivated to do something. It just grabs you and makes you want to do something. You get so hyped, you feel like you're part of the team. Your anxiety skyrockets the entire season. You gotta finish.
You don't know
Haikyu.
how many times like I would catch myself watching this, and like I'd have my hand like up,
You're like,
ready
I'm ready.
to.
You're like, spike that ball, just go past it, go,
You
go.
know, or like screaming, or like go, like
Yeah.
And like, let me tell you, when I was like watching like the third season, I knew that they were gonna win.
Like you,
but there was still that anticipation. I was like, what if they don't win? Like,
you're like,
I'm like, I know they go to nationals, but like I'm sitting there like they made this so good that I'm like, well, what if they don't win?
What's
like,
going on? Oh, it's so good, guys. But yeah, so that's the story. Should we talk about the characters a little bit?
Yes.
Guys, there's so many characters in this show.
Yeah, it's really hard to keep track of all of them.
There's so many. So I personally just wrote down all the characters for Kurosano that were worth mentioning. A couple, and then I think you wrote down a couple other people.
Yeah, I wrote down the Kurosano, and then I wrote the captains of like the notable teams that they went against. And
so I say we start with Kurosano.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the main character?
Hinata.
Shoyo Hinata.
So Hinata is one of like, he's really our main protagonist, and we're kind of following his story. But he is very tiny for a volleyball player, and everybody lets him know this.
He's short stuff. He's short.
I think he's like 5'2".
Yeah.
Or something.
Which, FYI, is actually he's 5'1".
5'1".
And Levi Ackerman's 5'2". That is
canon
heights.
Yeah.
Just letting everyone know.
Yeah, he's 5'1". A volleyball player is normally like 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's a big height difference. But he believes that he's going to be the ace and that he wants to be a wing spiker.
Yeah, he wants to be the new tiny giant.
Yeah, because as we said before, he got inspired by the tiny giant, which was around his height, you know? And so he was like, of course I can play. What we do know about Hinata, though, is that he has killer, like, spiking skills.
Oh, yeah, and he has major hops.
He can jump really high.
He almost can jump the highest of anyone on the team. Like, he can jump higher than the ace, which is, like, he's the tallest guy on the team.
Yeah. And, of course, like, coming into, like, Kurosano, he, you know, believes, like, he's like, I'm going to be the ace and stuff, you know? And they set him up as, like, the decoy. You know, because not a whole lot of people think that he's gonna be able to hit the ball and stuff. And of course, he's got some, like, he's really good at the decoy. Well, let's just say, you know,
because he fully believes the ball's coming to him.
Yeah.
But like they call him like what do they call him? Like ginger. They call him ginger. He has orange hair. He's like has this like passion, but he's also like this super nice guy. Like even though his team sucked in middle school, he was being super encouraging, super friendly, which, let's be honest, is not realistic to how sports really are. If you suck, you tell them they suck.
He's like the very innocent, you know, very energetic kind of guy. You know, he's like positive, which is the exact opposite of like Kageyama.
Yeah, which Kageyama is Hinata's rival. Kageyama is known as the king of the court from his middle school not because he is an amazing setter that can control the ball with pinpoint accuracy and speed. It's because he's a dictator on the court. Like he
basically plays the game himself.
Yeah, he orders people to do what he wants. He treats them as his subjects. And the main reason why he comes off that way is just because he's so unattached to his emotions. Like, to a certain point, he just has social anxiety. He doesn't know how to interact with people correctly. So he comes off as a total, like, douchebag, and he, like, controls people, and he's cold and distant from people, but he also has extremely high standards for himself, where if he messes up, he, like, beats himself over it. And when he, like, apologizes to people and says they did a good job, it's, like, terrifying, because he's, like, very aggressive about it, and everyone's like, "Is that supposed to be a compliment? That's scary. Don't smile." They're like, "Stop smiling."
And Kageyama and Hinata have this sort of like frenemy type relationship. You know, like they work amazingly well together.
Oh yeah.
But it's like they definitely get on each other's nerves.
Yes.
You know, it's like
yes.
One of the scenes I remember was they were like fighting in the stairwell, and they were like talking about somebody going to the bathroom or something, and then like I think it's Kageyama was like, "Oh, to go take a shit." And he's like, "Say poop." Like shit. Poop.
Like, yeah, it's just like their little interactions are so funny, and like we both watched a dub, right?
Yeah.
And so like this is kind of my thing. I like watching shows subbed if it's like a thriller anime, a psychological thriller. But when it comes to comedy, there's so often times that there's side conversations in the background that are just hysterical that you won't hear sub because they don't caption it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, and Haikyu is one of those, just because I was switching back and forth to kind of see if they were doing this. They were not, like, that interaction about the poop thing was not subtitled.
And see, that was like...
It's a background conversation while someone's having a thought. Like,
yeah, and it's like those, like, kind of made the whole scene.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, it made their personalities because they were sitting there fighting about, like,
exactly.
what was going on.
So, once again, for the dub versus sub argument, I personally will watch comedy almost always dubbed because of those little... Like, Konosuba did it so many of these. Like, and it was added to the dub that a character would just start saying, nope, I never said that. I don't think you ever helped out, actually. Actually, you were completely useless the entire time while the main, like, this other chick is on screen, like, ranting about how she's a goddess and how she deserves to be treated better. And then the main character is just like, nope, actually, no, you're actually useless. Like, we don't know why you are here, and I don't know why I brought you here to this world. And
yeah,
that's the reason why I like dub and comedy.
Let me tell you, oh my gosh, there were so many, like, I'll tell you about this, like, side off the screen when we get to it. Because it's not, no, like...
later down the line.
Yeah, because it's for a different character. And so
we'll gotcha. So, next character, let's talk about the captain of Karasuno. Daichi. I love Daichi.
I do too.
Like, he's the homie. He's a homie.
Yeah, he definitely, like, if you put them into, like, a family role, he is the father.
Oh, yeah, and he's, like... But he's also, like, an amazing receiver. So that's his thing. He's a third-year student. Mm-hmm. He's the captain. And so in volleyball, if you watch Haikyu, you'll understand all this. You have to receive the ball from the opponent, right? Daichi is an amazing receiver for, like, pure strength, like, powerful hits.
He, like, trained himself really hard to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And he's an amazing defense because of Daichi. And so... He's a really strong character, but he's, like, not the spiker. That's not his big thing. His big thing is receiving. And I really like Daichi. He's, like, the dad.
He's a very big, like, motivator. He can, like, get the team, like, to cooperate together and work together. And, like, he's always like, okay, we got to do this, you know? Like, even when he basically got smashed in the face.
Oh, yeah. He got, like, literally practically knocked unconscious. He lost a tooth.
Yeah. He was still like, let's go. Like,
we got to keep going, guys. And, like, he's, like, face is bruised up. And it was just, like, not pretty. But,
there were, like, so many memes of, like, Daichi died.
Daichi died.
Yeah.
He gone.
No, and, like...
That's how it feels like. Everyone's like...
Listen, before, like, I'd actually watched the anime, I'd seen some of those memes, and they're like, oh, Daichi's dead. Daichi died. And I was like, there's actually a death in this anime?
Like, this is not freaking, like...
But no, it's just talking about, like, when he's basically laying on the court, and it looks like he's, like, freaking passed out.
Yeah, they're like, he died.
Yeah, he died.
This is not freaking, what, Neo Genesis Evangelion, where everyone dies for no reason? Yeah. What other anime does? Oh, no, it's Akame ga Kill.
Akame ga Kill.
Yeah, like, oh, we don't have a canon ending yet, so let's just do our own thing and kill everyone. What the freak? But, yeah, and another third year is... Sugawara.
He is the mother figure.
He's the mother figure. And the thing that's interesting about this character, he was the original setter for the team, but Hinata and Kageyama are both first years. Kageyama is a far better setter than Sugawara. So Sugawara is actually on the sideline the entire game pretty much. Every once in a while he'll come in like to kind of change things up, and he is really good at doing that. But it's so fascinating that this character stays with the team being a third year and is no longer a starting player.
Because normally things like that don't happen. It's usually like first years are the ones off to the side.
Yeah,
but it's Kageyama's such like an exceptional setter
exactly.
that like even Sugawara's like, I would rather Kageyama go in.
Yeah, because he is better than me. And it's very fascinating because I think it's a really interesting characterization.
And then
him.
he's like, because Kageyama's so good, I'm going to practice. I'm going to get good so I can reach that level.
Like that I can provide something to this team. And it's very interesting how he does it. And it's funny because he'll just yell from the sideline. The referees will just be glaring at him. He's like, they hate me now, but it's fine because everyone's back on like in game.
But as we were saying, like Sugawara is very much the mother figure
it's really
in
funny.
the whole dynamic.
It's very cute.
And like he's like always caring about like, the first years and all the other. And like,
very
he's
sweet.
the third year that like everyone likes, and he's like friends with all of the teammates and all that. And like you could totally get that feeling from him. He just
100%.
wants to take care of everyone, and he wants to like, be there for everyone.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And then the last third year is Asahi, which this character cracks me. Yeah, he has a man bun, and he looks like he should be a juvenile delinquent. Like that's just how he looks. But in reality, he's like the super soft, like very like nervous character.
He couldn't hurt anyone.
He couldn't hurt a fly, but everyone's like, oh, it's a terrifying third year from like Karasuno who's gonna beat us up and steal our lunch money, and he's just like, do I need to get help? Like, what's going on? Everyone sees it as like, oh, punk TV.
Well, because like Asahi, he's the ace of Karasuno, so that means he does like all of like the big spikes and all that. Oh yeah,
and he's good at it too.
And he's good at it, and you got to be really big and like tough to be able to be like a wing spiker,
because he's super super tall.
Yeah, and so he's got this like really tough exterior and stuff, but in reality he's like, I don't want to start a fight with anyone. Like,
yeah, and he's like, no, it's all my fault, I'm so sorry. And like they'll do like an animation change where he's like super small, like, oh no, it's all my fault, and the other person's like, no, it's okay, like that's my fault. He's like, no, seriously, it's my fault, like, so stop apologizing. And it's just really funny.
Or he's like always the one if like people are starting to get into a fight, he's like, guys, please stop.
No, don't do this. Do I need to get help? Like
one of my favorite dubbed moments Asahi is when like Coach Yukai is like having practice, and Asahi's like walking by, and he goes, hey, get your man looking bun butt in here, and I just thought that was like so funny. He's like, hey, get that man bun in here and start doing some spikes.
And he was like, oh. He's like, because he was originally not gonna. Asahi had this little thing at the beginning where he didn't want to come back because he failed. Yeah
he was like, I can't get past like these blockers from this one school, and so I'm not good at volleyball, and so I'm just gonna quit.
Yeah, which, guys, it makes me so annoyed when people do that. Like in real life and anime, it's just like, guys, you have an obstacle, you can overcome it. You don't have to quit.
Exactly, and so
smack. Like, oh, what's wrong with you? Get over yourself. We all fail. Trust me, I know.
But eventually Asahi does come back and stuff, and it is a lot of it like he had a fallout with like another character on the Karasuno team, and so it was also
which segue into the next character, Nishinoya. He's a second year. How tall is Nishinoya?
He is like, I think he's 5'5", 5'5" or 5'4".
With his hair.
Like, I know that he's taller than Hinata though.
Barely though. He seems taller because of his hair, but when it's down, no one can recognize him. But yeah, he's the team's libero, which pretty much means they are an amazing receiver. Like, they'll get all the really tough balls, and like they'll dive and like
they basically make sure that the ball stays in play.
Yeah, and he's a very good libero.
Rolling Thunder.
Yes, he watches a little bit too much anime, guys. He's like it's kind of funny because Haikyu is a shounen, right? But Nishinoya kind of makes a joke at like how in shonen animes, like everyone will call out their special move when they do it. So he'll be like, Rolling Thunder, and then he'll do it, and everyone's like, Oh, okay.
You know,
Like, imagine that in real life, playing volleyball, and you're like, rolling thunder, or like, oh, I'm gonna spike it now, or like, synchronized attack.
but how it works in the game of volleyball is that the libero, it never spikes and never sets the ball. Well, they only set the ball if they do it from the back line.
Yeah.
But basically, if the ball is like coming to the ground, Nishinoya has to make sure that that ball doesn't touch the ground and that he can get it back up for the team to hit it over to the other side.
Exactly.
And so he's trained like exceptionally well to be able. And usually, if you are a shorter player in volleyball, that's the position you usually play.
Yeah, the libero, because
Yeah,
you're
the
fast,
libero.
you're the shortest to the ground, closest to the ground.
Yeah.
Everything. It makes sense.
And I don't know, Nishinoya, he's kind of got this like punk vibe to him.
Yeah, he does.
As well as like another character that he's like very good friends with, because he's a second year, and then there's another second year that also has a punk vibe.
And they're just
to him.
all about like impressing the ladies the entire time, and everyone's like, "Shut up!" Because
and
they're
like you can totally tell that he's like the class clown.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, and that like his teachers probably hate him because he's cracking jokes all the time.
Oh yeah. And then like speaking of the other second year, let's talk about Tanaka, who is the actual juvenile delinquent of the group, in my opinion. He's like super loud and rambunctious and obnoxious. Like he'll rip his shirt off when he does something well. Like he's that guy. Everyone has that guy on their team that is like, you know, like, and he's also just trying to impress the girls the whole time. Him and Nishinoya are like, dude,
they like love.
Have you heard of the opportunities?
Kyoko.
Yeah, Kyoko, which I guess we could segue into Kyoko. We can talk about her later. But yeah, Tanaka is also a wing spiker. He's the other wing spiker, and he is actually pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
But this character is interesting because he gets in his own head a little bit. Like
he looks at like Asahi and like Hinata and stuff, and he's like, well, what do I have like compared to those two?
Yeah, exactly. And he also is the type of character to just like, I don't know how to explain it, but like he judges himself a lot. Like he won't let other people's mistakes bother him on his team, but when he makes a mistake that costs the team, it really hurts his like confidence.
Yeah, like he was kind of the whole reason that Daichi got hit in the face.
Yeah, he did literally like plow this guy.
And so then he felt bad about it for like so long, and he was like, oh god, like, you know, I can't believe like I did that, and it was like actually affecting his game. And then
100%.
Finally Daichi was like, dude, get your head out of your ass
and just
like,
start playing volleyball. It's my fault. But yeah, I like Tanaka's probably my least favorite character on the team.
I just like the things that he says because I feel like most of the
so
comedy
funny.
comes. Like I remember, like one time he was like, "Oh, somebody's got cojones, huh?"
Right? Or there's that one time when he's like, "You know what, punk? We're gonna take you down." And Hinata's like, "Yeah," and then
Yeah.
like he says something else, and Hinata comes on the other side, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do it."
He's like always the one that's kind of like going up to like the students and like starting fights and stuff,
yeah.
like the other teams.
Well, he's also like him and Nishinoya are obnoxiously talking in the lobby about all the girls they're gonna get and like, you know, how many are gonna like love them, and they're like yelling it, and then Daichi's like, "How about you two shut up? Everyone's gonna hate us," and then like because everyone does hate them.
Yeah.
And guys, this show is made by the dynamics between the team.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the other two first years of the team that are important.
Tsukishima. I'm gonna tell you,
Beanstalk, is that what they call him? Beanstalk?
I think so.
This guy is like extremely tall, blonde hair, glasses.
Doesn't really care for the game of volleyball.
Yeah, he's kind of a total prick.
He thinks he's really better than everybody else.
See, when I saw this guy, I'm like, oh, he's gonna be my favorite, and then immediately I was like, oh, you're kind of the worst person on this team, like personality wise, because he just doesn't care about anything. He's extremely smart. I don't know, he's cold and distant.
And until actually like the third season, he is the worst person on the team, if you think about it, because he never tries to actually like improve his game.
Exactly. He doesn't show any effort, and actually like they all think that eventually he's just going to be replaced by someone because he's not going to put that effort in.
Yeah, because like he's even like said himself, he's like, I just see this as an extracurricular activity. I don't see it as a passion.
Okay, which guys, I mean, it is just an extracurricular activity. Like the fact that Hinata, Kageyama, Nishinoya, and Tanaka are practically filling their classes. I'm like, guys, no, You're in school. You need to do well academically.
But then again, they're probably just really bad students.
They are really bad students.
But like I'm like talking like in a learning aspect, because
That's
you can
true.
be really good at sports and then be really terrible when it comes to just school.
Right? What was it? It was Kageyama like got all his vocabulary like perfect, but he got all the grammar wrong because he didn't think that was
Yes.
going to be on the test. And he's like, "But I memorized it all." And they're like, "Wow, your kanji's perfect, but
you would
you don't
never
know how to do
think.
any literature."
You would never think that like by Kageyama's look that he would be a bad student.
Yeah, he's a terrible
But
student.
he's a terrible student. But yeah, those four are like the
But
terrible
actually, the thing
students.
he's terrible at, which is I think fascinating because I think it shows to his personality, is he's terrible at the inference stuff, which
Yeah.
I think is really. I think this is a really interesting detail, which I think shows how good the mangaka does at characterizing every
Mhm.
single player. Because he is great at memorization technique, his form is flawless. Like he's good at the structure, but when it comes to inferencing and character interactions and relating to people, he can't get it. So yeah, it makes sense that literature analysis, like reading between the lines, idioms are not his strong suit.
Yeah.
I feel you, Kageyama, on the idioms, but like, but and then Hanada is terrible at math, I think, right? No, he's
Yeah.
terrible at English. I don't remember which one it is.
They're
he's
all
bad
just
at.
terrible at school.
Yeah, because Hanada is like one-track mind guy.
Yeah.
He wants to do great at sports, like he has a passion for it. He's not passionate about school,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense.
And,
I know a
like,
lot of people like that.
Tsukishima, like he kind of like Tsukishima's 6 foot tall.
Mhm.
You know, he's like one of the tallest people on the team.
Yeah.
And you know, he's a blocker. That's like what he does. He makes sure that the ball, like if the spiker, you know, spikes, then it doesn't make it over to the other side.
Yep.
And you know, he just thinks that that's like an effortless position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he doesn't really need to do anything to prepare for it and all that. And so he just kind of plays and plays and plays until it gets to the point where everybody has leveled up in a sense except for him. And he's like actually being left behind.
And then what he ends up doing is he's using his ability to analyze everything in an instant. And he uses that to his ability. So he starts becoming a read blocker, which pretty much means I don't exactly know. He
like in the split second before the spiker is able to hit the ball, he can read to where the ball
exactly.
is going to go.
And so like he uses his extreme like analytical side to its fullest potential in the game.
Yeah.
Where his nonchalant, like, oh, this is just an extracurricular, becomes a, let me use my abilities to its fullest. It's literally like a shonen anime typical level up. Like,
Yeah.
and Fairy Tail, you learn a new special move. And Demon Slayer, you learn a new technique. Like, it's literally equivalent to
you
that.
learn a new breath.
You learn a new breath. Like, it's equivalent to that. And I think that is so
And
fascinating.
then he's
Or
also
like in Attack on
got,
Titan, when you just find a new Titan ability, because that's just how they do it in the game.
And he's got such like a blank face. He doesn't really show a lot of emotion, and so that's really hard for the other team because they can't read him
Oh, yeah.
and know like what he's thinking and what he's gonna do.
It's amazing. I Tsukishima has an interesting character development, which is one of my favorites.
Because like let me tell you, when he was able to block Ushijima's
Oh,
spike,
mm.
like that whole
Oh.
thing, I was like, yeah,
You're
let's
like,
go
hell
Tsukishima.
yeah.
Because like nobody was able to do that.
No one's
before.
ever been able to do that.
And so
And
I
so
was
he
like,
did.
that is the character development we need right there.
That's
Because that was like,
the plot demanded that.
well, it was like that's where he fell in love with volleyball.
Yeah.
Because he's able to do something that nobody else can.
Exactly. And the other first year that kind of is important, Yamaguchi, which this character, like at first I was like, is he just gonna quit? Like, what's his purpose?
He's
And
like
so-
Tsukishima's right hand man.
Yeah, so pretty much Yamaguchi is not the most talented receiver. He is not a good blocker. He's not really the most talented volleyball player. But what he does figure out is like, hey, I might not be good at like anything else. Everyone else is way better than me. But I can hone one ability to its absolute greatest potential and I'll become useful. And so what he ends up learning is the jump serve, which is it's just a
Like a
special
jump
kind of
float
serve.
serve.
Yeah, it's like a float serve. Sorry, jump float serve. It pretty much just the ball does some weird stuff when he hits it. And so what he ends up doing is he doesn't do anything else, but he practices that jump float serve to its like fullest potential to where he becomes the what's it called? The pinch server.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. So like literally for me personally, like him coming into the game and then getting those points, this character that like isn't really like one of the starting 6 players comes in and gets those points. Like for me, that was like, oh, I loved that so much.
Well, it's like, because you could see like the victory in his face,
Yeah.
and he was like, I have worked my ass off to hone this one skill so that way I can be useful.
Like, it's kind of very comparable to, what's his name, Zenitsu from
Zenitsu.
I was close, from Demon Slayer. He can't do anything else, but he honed this one ability to perfection, which once again, this is why this anime is a shonen. Like, it has shonen qualities. It has the aspects of like why you want to watch it. It's like a designated hitter in baseball. They can't do anything else but hit.
Yeah.
But they can hit damn good. This kid can serve real good. And that's I did enjoy this character a lot. And I feel like him and Suki had some of the most interesting character development in my opinion.
Because like even like, because I would say Yamaguchi's more like Tsukishima's underling in a sense.
And then eventually they become equals because of the effort he puts into it.
Yeah, and it's because like finally Yamaguchi's like, what are you doing, Tsukishima? Like, I'm even trying to get better.
Right.
Everyone's trying to get better, and you're just sitting here doing nothing.
You're going to sleep.
Yeah, like he was like, you better just like buck up or, be okay with sitting on the side.
Yeah.
While all of us like reach our full potential. And so that kind of like spurned something in like Tsukishima. He's like, all right, maybe I need to actually figure this out.
Yeah, I got to get my act together.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, these two characters, I would even say these two characters' development was more interesting for me than Kageyama and Hinata, because that one's very predictable.
Yeah, I mean.
Whereas these two characters, I generally thought that Yamaguchi would just become a nobody, and Suki would just get overpassed, and once he's overpassed, he just...
Yeah, definitely. You
better.
Get vibes from Yamaguchi that he's definitely just going to stay off to the side, and that like nothing. He's more just to like be there for Tsukishima, but he actually has his own little like development arc.
Yeah, exactly, and that I appreciated. Once again, the mangaka does an amazing job at characterizing everyone on this team. Even like there's some other minor characters which we don't have to mention, but one character, he's going to be the next year's captain. He quit originally, and then they characterized that so well. Even the random characters from the other teams, like, they characterize them. Like, and it might just be a quick, like, a little brief conversation between two teammates, but it gives them something that you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that one guy from that one team that his whole family was cheering for him.
Yeah.
That, like, kind of had the same goal of being the next tiny giant. His interactions with his teammates, it's memorable. Like, Daytech with the iron wall, like the new guy that joined it that looked like a rooster. Like, his hair just made me...
Beating Abajosai and stuff like that. And...
There's little interactions between the characters that you're just like it just really... And it's realistic. Like, sports is not a bunch of just no-name faces, which it can feel like sometimes. But when you face an opponent, like a good team that you know... and you interact with, like, that's how it is. And I enjoyed that. I think Haikyu did a great job showing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have more characters to talk about.
I mean, honestly, like, for the rest of the actual, like, team, there's 3 more characters. I mean, there's 3 more teammates, but they're not really...
Yeah, we don't need to talk about them.
We don't need to talk about them.
The people we just talked about were the main people from Karasuno that get the most screen time. Then there's the 2 team managers, which we should talk about. Kyoko, who is... true beauty.
The team manager that's basically been there since her first year. She is a 3rd year, and so she's actually getting ready to graduate.
Yeah, she's sweet, cold, beautiful. You know, your typical beautiful woman who's hard to get and distant and, like, mysterious. You know, she got that mysterious vibe going for her that everyone's pining for, but she's also got, like, that extreme aggressive aspect to her. She's like, a volleyball comes flying to another person. She just grabs it from the air. She's like... And she just glares and she looks and everyone's like, oh, she's beautiful. And
like Nishinoya and Tanaka have like major crushes on Kyoko.
And she'll just like duck underneath them while they fly over. And she doesn't even get fazed by it because that's true beauty right there.
I forgot the other manager's name though.
Her name is Yachi.
Yachi, yeah.
I love this character.
She is a new character that get introduced in season 2.
Mm-hmm. Because they need a new manager.
They needed a new manager. And I don't really remember how they went about it, but I think that she
Kyoko just went around like
yeah.
recruiting people, and then I think Yachi's like, wow, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish I could be here. And she's
now
like,
that you
and then Kyoko's like, would you do that? She's like, yeah, sure. She's like, amazing, meet me here. And she like grabs Yachi's hands, like, okay, you're like my life savior. And everyone's like, that girl's so beautiful. She talked to Yachi, and I'm like, what the freak's going on here? Like,
but what's cool about it is that even though she became a manager with like different intentions, is that she actually starts to love the game.
oh yeah,
And she actually wants to start helping them. She starts learning volleyball techniques.
She has her own character arc. Like, she decides to tell her mom, like, this is what I'm going to do. I know it's not going to help my future, but I love doing it. I'm going to make posters. I'm going to get the money. And then she also has this massive anxiety problem.
Yeah.
And it's hysterical. Like, Yamaguchi will be like, I'm so nervous. I can't do this. And then she'll be like, oh my gosh. She's like, tell me what's going on. And then she's like, oh my gosh, you're making me sick because you're telling me about all the stress you have in your life. And everyone's just looking at them like, I mean, she did a good job at like making him unstressed because she looks like she's dying right now. She's
and
literally puking.
there's kind of like an underling of like she's kind of got a crush on Hinata and all that. And
everyone has a crush on Hinata. Let's be honest, Kageyama has a crush on Hinata.
I mean,
the fandom believes so. Oh my word, those fan fictions though. Whew, there's so many guys.
Those Shinjis.
Oh no, we're not getting into that territory.
But
I like Yachi also because the voice actor for is the same one that does Wendy and does Misaka from Railgun, and I just love that voice actor. So
let me tell you, I'm a little bit off topic, but I love all of the voice actors for the dub.
For the most part.
I feel like they fit very well for like personality wise.
Not Kageyama's. I feel like Kageyama's voice actor is way too old for the character.
I just like, I guess with his
same
more tough.
With Daichi. No, same with Sugawara. Like, you can tell a middle-aged man is playing these characters, and for me, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Where's Todd Haberkorn? And then like,
I feel like Todd Haberkorn would have fit the role of either like Kageyama or Sugawara.
No, I'm joking.
Because you need that kind. Like, you also have to think that like Kageyama has more of like a tough. So you have to have a more deeper voice.
It's just I can't remember which character specifically, but one character I'm like, that voice does not match that. Oh, maybe it was Twin Star Exorcist. I was like, that voice does not match. Oh, it was Twin Star because the main character of it played Rotsuke or whatever his name was. I was like, that voice does not match that character. And then that one chick.
How am I remembering all these names?
Mayuri. Yeah, her voice sounded like she was like literally a 6-year-old woman that was trying to be in high school. I was like, what the freak's going on here?
No, I actually thought that like it felt well. Like I didn't feel like, oh, that voice just does not fit.
Yeah,
that personality or
except
look.
for the random characters in the sidelines that had some of the greatest lines I've ever heard. Like, oh wow, he hit the ball.
He hit the ball.
I'm like, is that actually a line? Who thought this was right? It's like when I watched Your Future Diary, and he's like, yeah, some people say I'm a loner, but it's just because all my friends are in my head. And I'm just like, who thought that's a good line?
Haikyu has an abridged.
I'm watching it.
It is great.
Is it actually
It is
fun?
so great. Like,
next time I'm drinking with friends, I will.
Like, Coach Yukai's like in his shop, and like It's Raining Men is like playing, and he's like doing work in there. It's like really funny.
Coach Yukai is another character we didn't talk about. He is pretty much the old Coach Yukai's grandson, and he's like
the one that got everyone to nationals.
Yeah, and so this guy kind of comes in and like rips them into shape and like pushes, and he's just really funny. He's very aggressive.
He knows how to play volleyball.
Dude, I have to tell you about some things from that other thing we like doing, but you know what I'm referring to.
I think so.
Like
yeah, okay.
And, and so like I'll tell you about some of the stuff that he's in.
Like how you're just like,
you know how it is. Not on the podcast, but he's an interesting character. And then there's like the teacher advisor who's like, I don't even know his name.
Takeda.
Yeah, he like specs.
Specs.
Like, he's like a nervous Nelly, and he tries to make all these like analogies that are supposed to inspire them, and everyone's like,
cool. Like Takeda does not know how to play the game. He doesn't know anything about like
he's
volleyball.
Like, guys, you're just like seeds in the making. and like,
But he's the one that actually gets them all like these practice like tournaments
oh yeah,
and like all that kind of
pure
like
grit determined. But I love his analogies. Like, you guys are seeds in the making. They're gonna sprout, and tractors, and like you
they're all
might
like, what?
get obstacles. And I'm like, dude, I feel you. I'm like, this guy is my spirit animal, because like I would be making these analogies. I'm like, wow, that was beautiful. That was poetic, and everyone would be like, what are you saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's not an expression, Matty. Like, that's what would happen. So,
Yeah, originally Karasuno, when Hinata and Kageyama first joined the team, they did not have a coach. Only Takeda was their coach, but Takeda doesn't know volleyball. Or
yeah.
doesn't really know how to set up practices and how to do all that. And so it was actually like Takeda who went out to go find a coach for them.
Mhm.
And of course like Yukai, he's like, no, I don't want to like go be a coach, and no, I don't want to. And then finally he just kind of got roped into it and then ended up like loving the team.
Yeah. The fandom also loves shipping these two characters together.
They love shipping any
Actually,
character.
I'm pretty sure the order we introduced characters is how they were shipped. Hinata and Kageyama,
Oh my god.
Daichi and Sugawara,
It is!
Asahi and Nishinora,
Tanaka and Kyoko.
yeah, Tanaka and Kyoko, and then there is Suki and Yamaguchi, the coaches, and then there's Dachi, who doesn't get anyone. So she got nobody.
Yeah, I don't think anybody like ships her with like Hinata or anything.
Yeah.
I think it's just cute that she has a crush on him.
Yeah, but it's just kind of funny. So, would you like to talk about the captains of the other team?
Yes, let's talk about
Bro, we've
Kuro.
been recording for an hour,
Oh my gosh.
and we're still talking about characters.
I just feel like we have a lot to say when it comes to
It's Haikyu, baby. It's Haikyu from TV.
Well, did you know that actually like Haikyu means volleyball in Japanese?
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, just making sure.
With 2 exclamation points, which doesn't that normally imply
BL.
BL?
Yeah. No, I was gonna say something like
Free! Exclamation point.
Yes, the number of exclamation points determines how
Explicit.
How much BL energy is actually in the show.
Yeah, like that one show, Yacha something a bitch club.
Yari-chin Bitch Club.
3 exclamation points, guys.
Yuri on Ice.
Yuri on Ice. Ooh.
Everything has an exclamation point. All of the sports animes have just exclamation points.
And then there's that one tennis anime where the kid just like pulls a gun out. Like, what?
But yeah, so we're gonna talk about Nekoma, which is one of the volleyball teams from the Tokyo region.
Yep.
Kuro is the captain. He's like on par with like Daichi.
Yes. As the fandom also loves to ship these 2 characters together.
But they like to ship Kuro and Kenma a lot of the time.
Is
Kenma,
our podcast just becoming what is the fandom ship?
Yeah.
We should make that a section.
So
what does the
Kenma,
fandom believe?
He's one of the guys that kind of just got roped into playing volleyball, and he doesn't really like have an interest for it, but he does try his best.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna say Kuro is my favorite character. I think it's just because
You're just like,
listen, I really like guys that are kind of douchebags but have a heart of gold.
and have abs.
I don't know if like Kuro has abs. I don't think I've ever seen Kuro shirtless.
I was thinking Crow from Dead Man Wonderland.
Okay, Crow is like different because
Your
he's
guilty
basically
pleasure?
shirtless all the time.
Your guilty pleasure.
But no, listen, I have a thing for like characters that are douchebags, but they have like this heart of gold.
I can relate to that because like I love it when a protagonist is like, remember when we watched Yamada's first time, and the main character Yamada, right?
Yeah.
The
Yamada's the girl. I don't remember what the
whatever
guy's
his name is. He was perceived as like a juvenile delinquent, but he actually is a good guy, and I love that character development.
Yeah. So those are the 2 from Nekoma, and then we have Oikawa
from Isa Jababa.
Albajosai.
Abadosai.
And they're like in the first season, that's kind of like the arc of that they're trying to beat that team.
Oh, dude. This character's voice actor, I loved it. I love this character. Like, oh, hello.
You want to know my favorite quote? So, like, you know how they do, like, the little, like, in between things and stuff, and sometimes they talk about it like a character. They're like, Oikawa's favorite food is milk bread, and his favorite quote
Right?
is like, hit it till it breaks. And I was like, what?
This
Like, if you're gonna hit it till it breaks.
Yeah, and he has like a whole fangirls following him all the time, and he's just like, "Hey guy," and like, oh, my favorite thing he does is when the team turns around, he's just like, "Oh, you guys better not let me down, because you know what will happen." It's like daggers into their hearts, and I was like, oh, but then the very last set they play, they immediately like just walk by him. They're like, "Oh yeah, we know." Like, and if you screw up your serve, you're paying for a dinner, and you're paying for this and this. Like, who else wants this? And then he actually doesn't get the serve, and they end up losing. Not because of him, but like that was kind of the turning point. And it's just interesting, like, to see the team develop to overcome his like terror. Like, he's known as Hinata calls him the great king of the court because he's Kageyama's mentor, kind of. Even though he hates Kageyama. But it's
like, Kageyama hates him, and then, like, Oikawa hates Kageyama. Yeah. It's, like, not a... Because they're both setters, but Kageyama has this, like, inherent, like, talent for it, whereas, like, Oikawa has had to work
his butt off
for it, which... Flattykawa... everybody always calls him, like, Flattykawa.
Why?
Because his butt is, like, very flat.
Oh,
if you've
my
ever...
word.
No, there's so many jokes about that. Like...
I didn't realize that.
No, like, you go back and, like, look.
I'm not gonna lie. I was not watching the anime for the guys' butts.
No, it's just, like, jokes that you kind of, like, if you see, like, enough, like, memes and stuff about it, it's, like, Flattykawa and, like...
Maybe I should re-download Instagram and just focus on anime memes.
Yes.
I'll ask
it's
my
like
friends
you need to go look up some, like, Haikyu memes because they're hilarious.
Okay, I'll start looking. Honestly, Haikyu is one of those shows that I might rewatch.
Oh,
dude!
Oh,
I know. I said it, guys, and I have very adamantly on the podcast.
Keep those words, record them, and date it. Like,
write this down, because like I will never rewatch a show. Because like I will rewatch a show with someone if I'm introducing it to them. But I feel like it's a waste of time to rewatch a show. I would rather watch something new. But Haikyu. It's just different, man. Baby. It's just like, we'll talk about in my final thoughts portion.
Then we have Furu Kodani, which is the captain Bokuto. Bokuto, he's like this, like, he's like a mix between like Nishinoya and like Tanaka.
Yeah.
And like he's got really spiky hair. Like a lot of people compare him to like an owl. And
dude, I don't know any of these characters anymore. Like, I did not care about these characters.
Dude, let me tell you, Bokuto's one of my favorite because like the whole thing, and like he's like, oya, 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 oya. You don't know that part where they're like Tsukishima's like talking to
not
Kuro
really, but we definitely still need to move on from characters. So,
and then we have Ushijima from Shiratorizawa and Tendo. Which Tendo kind of scares me.
Tendo's creepy. He looks like a lizard, and
he looks like a lizard.
It was disturbing on every part. Actually, this character was quite disturbing.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I get serial killer vibes from Tendo.
Bro, right.
And then like,
and he's like everyone. Like he like flashbacks to him. Like we're supposed to feel bad for him for like kind of being bullied. But I'm like, kid, you're creepy AF. Like I would be terrified to be around you as a kid. Like,
and then
you look like you would eat me.
And then we have, like, Ushijima, and he's, like, one of the top, like, 3 spikers in, like, the whole
he's
nation.
amazing. He's, like, a beast of a person. He's left-handed. Like, that's his whole thing. That's about his entire personality.
Yeah.
He's good at volleyball.
Yeah. He's kind of got this thing with, like, Oikawa, where he was like, you should have came to our school. You know? And it's, like, really weird.
And he's like, yeah, it's just a whole thing. But
I do want to say one of my favorite lines, though, from, like, Bokuto.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when they're like all playing and he's not like hitting the spike right, and his like setter or whatever, he's like, hey Bokuto, you need to calm down. He's like, I am calm.
I am calm. I know, I love it. But those are all the characters we'll talk about for now for Haikyu. Character development we've pretty much covered. The big thing with character development is what is fascinating about this anime, which we kind of mentioned earlier, is that not only is the Karasuno team, like, what's it called, characterized, the opponent teams are also characterized, and that helps push the plot. It makes it more realistic. It makes it more engaging. Like, I get interested in Daytech.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the random teams they play, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, cool. Like,
Yeah.
I get into it. So that's what's so...
It's like you want to see the victories for the other teams as well.
Exactly. And then, like, the character relationships drive their development
Yeah.
while playing volleyball. That's how I would describe it. It's not
Yes.
they're playing volleyball and the characters help develop their personality. It's the other way around. It's definitely a character development heavy show
Mm-hmm.
while trying to achieve their goals of being a murder of crows.
Murder of
Dude,
crows.
literally, favorite lines from the show. I love... we're going into animation now. So
Yeah.
do you want is there anything character development wise you want to talk about?
I think we kind of covered it even when
Cool.
we were talking about characters.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about animation?
Yes, animation. It's very different from your average anime style. It's more like it's smaller lines than compared to like others, and
Mhm.
it just if you compare it to like Konosuba or something, and then
Yeah.
it's very different styles. You know, like Konosuba has that very like anime style that you normally see.
And then Haikyu definitely has a unique style about it.
And it's just also kind of the way that like the manga was written or drawn, and so that's but season 4 we get a whole different change.
Yeah.
It's like all of the characters' faces become way smaller, and they're not like as elongated, I guess is the word I'm saying.
Yeah, and then
harsher lines.
they're not
and,
as
like,
triangular either.
Yeah,
They're more
yeah,
round and boxy, and like Asahi doesn't even look like Asahi anymore. Like, what the freak's going on with his face?
I know, like Asahi looks like a 30-year-old man in like the 4th season instead of
Because like there was details of like facial hair,
Mhm.
but there's no longer details of facial hair.
And like his man bun was like a little bit lower. Now it's like straight like on top of his head.
yeah.
But I mean, I'm definitely not gonna focus going into season 4 on the animation style. I'm really just gonna focus on the story aspect
And the spirit of the anime.
Yeah, because like, yeah, the animation has changed, and that might be a little bit hard to get over, but the spirit and the story has not changed.
Oh yeah.
And so it shouldn't really bother me from wanting to watch this anime.
Yeah. Because it's sad because every season is better than the previous season.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people will be turned off by the 4th season because the animation changed.
And that's what I heard. There was like a lot of controversy to it, and a lot of people weren't gonna watch it because they didn't like the animation style.
I would still watch it. What I think the anime does great on visuals is the fluid motion of playing volleyball. Like the dynamic cinematic camera angles and choreograph is immaculate. Like the way they move.
Yeah. Able to actually portray like a spike.
Dude,
or,
right?
Like,
it is realistic. Like when you watch people review Haikyu, like actual players, they're like, "Wow, that's actually genuinely that is the form of a volleyball player." Whereas like when you watch live action shows, it tends like forms out the window. They can't hit a ball to save their life. They can't spike. It's a show. And the anime and then Haikyu, they like draw it immaculately, and they like are very impressed by how much attention to detail goes into drawing this.
Exactly. Like you don't know how much studying they probably had to do to be able to do this anime justice.
Oh yeah.
And the way that they can make those like intense moments through the animation, like all of a sudden like Hinata just turns into like serious mode and stuff, and he you kind of get that little like scared feeling. You're like,
oh, and then they'll change the animation style to what's it called? It's when it's like more sketchy, and like how they change the animation whenever someone's spiking like a really powerful hit, or someone that's
kind of like almost like sketch it, and like it's like
that. There's a specific name for it, but I can't remember.
I know
right
what you're
now.
talking about though.
But they change it like that, and that's like, oh, it hits hard. But like one of my favorite things, the visual aspect of it is the symbolism of like animals, and it gives it almost like a primal aspect to the characters, like Nika Joe, Nike Joe, the cats. Nekoma. Nike Joe. They literally look like cats. Like their eyes are drawn like they're cat eyes, and then they'll stare at you as if they're cats. And then Hanada, when he jumps, literally looks like he's a bird flying because there are crows. And like
Shiratoizawa.
Yep. They're the eagles. So like they look like, literally it seems like you're fighting one powerful bald eagle versus a murder of crows. And that's how the entire competition, that entire arc, that entire season.
Dude, let me tell you, that entire season, it's just a roller coaster of
It's
like...
just that entire fight for an entire season.
It's just literally 10 episodes of one tournament, and it's beautiful. Like, you don't get bored.
And I love like the imagery they use with the birds and the animals, and then like also
the openings. Oh my gosh.
Let's get into the openings. Let's talk about the openings.
Listen, favorite opening is definitely season 3 opening.
Oh yeah, Hikari. But like for me personally, each opening got better, which never happens. It's always like the first season is amazing, and then like I loved Fly High by Burnout Syndromes, and then
it's like when they got to Burnout Syndromes, and then they started doing it, it just got increasingly better.
It's like, yes, we love it, but the music just lines up so well. Like you really just get pumped. Like you're like, yeah, hit those balls, like,
you're like, go,
yeah, growling into the mic.
You know, like
ASMR, baby.
Listen, these openings. This was the only anime where I seriously watched every single opening.
Oh, same.
Every time.
No, I didn't. I skipped every single time for the 3rd season.
No!
Because I wanted to know what would happen so bad. Like, I was like, yes.
No, this was the only anime that I've watched, like, the opening and the ending for, because I actually loved the ending.
I hated the ending of the 3rd season.
I loved it.
The 3rd season ending.
I don't know, it was just like...
I was like, what are we, a hick now? Like, I mean, Joe. Like, that's
how
I
don't know,
I felt
I thought
the
it
entire
was just,
time.
like, really cool, because they were, like, showing, like, all the teams and, like, moving along.
Yeah, it was
and
cool,
stuff.
but I hate the music. I was like, nope.
Oh, I actually kind of liked it.
Sorry, that's just me. Speaking of music, I thought the original soundtrack was really engaging.
I did too.
I listened to it while doing homework.
It was very engaging, and it fit in with the theme of the anime.
Oh, yeah.
And with, it helped, like, progress it along, in a sense.
100%. Like, it really gets you... like, the animation was amazing, and the music complemented so well. Like, it truly got you into the game. Like, you were part of the team. You were there at the fight. Like, it was... Guys, once again, these
like
matches...
battle music with
it's
volleyball.
Like, these are not volleyball matches. This is, like, a full-on battle to the death. That is how this is portrayed.
A battle to the death.
But yeah, that's music, animation. Final thoughts. Because
amazing anime. Y'all should watch it, because let me tell you, I did not want to watch this anime when I first started watching it.
And then you're like, fine, I'll watch it.
And then I was like, I caved, because I would, you can even vouch for me on this. I remember telling you
this in your
that
apartment.
I would never watch Haikyu.
You're like, I am never watching a sports anime.
Yes, I said I would never watch a sports anime. And like a couple months later, we're in quarantine, and I was like, might as well just watch Haikyu. And literally finished all of it in like 3 days.
Yep. I have a friend of mine, Luke, he's like, I'm never watching a sports anime. I'm like,
let me show you Haikyu.
I know, but here's Haikyu. Like, I'm sorry. Here
like,
you go.
It's like, watch a couple episodes.
Like, you just gotta,
It's like, I'm gonna tell you, will get invested.
I mean, like, even the first episode's pretty engaging. Like, it's not as engaging until
you just kind of want to see where it's going.
Yeah. Like,
it
intrigues you.
Because, like, if you don't know anything about Haikyu and you watch it, and then you find out that Hinata and, like, Kageyama are on the same team, it's like, whoa.
You're like, whoa. Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
But, sorry. But, yeah, like, pretty much what I was going to say is Haikyu truly is a shonen anime with battles.
Yeah.
It's not volleyball matches. It's battles. And
You're not wrong.
The characters really push it. Like, the characters make the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then it explains volleyball so well and really makes you feel part of the team. It's super motivational. One of the few animes I might rewatch. And it's not my favorite. By no means is Haikyu like my favorite anime of all times. It's just that
I think someone came in.
Yeah.
I had heard something earlier. I wasn't sure if I had heard it right, though.
I know. Sorry, guys. I'm not opening my door. It sounds like a dog.
It sounds like a door, like squeaky.
Oh, it's my roommate. He's not the most courteous person in the world.
Okay, well, I got a question, though, I want to ask.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Let me clap. Actually, no. I'm just leaving it in. I don't care.
Okay, got a question.
Yeah.
What position do you think you would play?
Setter.
Really?
Probably. because I don't have the vertical height to be a blocker, and I'm not a spiker, but I probably would have the pinpoint accuracy I would need. I am really good at that, at least from the other sports I've played. What about you?
Libro.
Oh, yeah.
100% Libro.
You're like
100%.
diving everywhere.
Like, literally the whole time I was watching this anime, I was like, I would totally be a Libro.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so who's your favorite character?
Nishinoya?
Oh, yeah.
Nishinoya? The
Duh.
Libero?
Of course. So my favorite character, who do you think my favorite character is?
I feel like it's Daichi for some reason.
Okay, I like Daichi, but it's Yamaguchi.
Really?
Yeah, which
I
is
get
so
that vibes,
surprising.
too.
But the main reason why is because every other character in the show, he's the one that I literally, my heart is warmed so much when he gets points. Like, I'm literally like, yes, boy, get it.
You're like, yes, that's
Because
my
I
boy.
relate a lot to Yamaguchi. Like,
Mhm.
being a pinch server is probably the only other thing I would do if I wasn't a setter. I would probably, no, this is what happened. I'd be Sugawara. I would be like that.
Sugawara.
Yeah, I would be like, originally, I'd go into my third year and then there would be a better first year if it comes along, and then I'd have to become a pinch server is probably what would end up happening.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that's probably the positions I would play.
I just feel like, because, like, I am shorter.
Mhm.
You know, I'm only, like, 5'5", and so, like, Libero would be probably the best position for me. Definitely couldn't be a spiker, and I'm definitely not really good with, like, you know, pinpoint
Blocking.
accuracy.
Oh yeah,
And so, you know, but, like, just the feeling, like, of diving for the ball and stuff to try to, like, keep it, like, I feel like that would be just, you know,
that'd be so. It would be so the adrenaline.
well, like, exhilarating,
yes,
you know?
exactly. That's the
Like,
word I was
I'm the
looking for.
one that has to keep
I was gonna
this
say
into the
orgasmic,
game.
but that's not right. You're diving like, ugh. Sorry. I can see. Just imagine being a Libra is just truly orgasmic for me. I'm just diving across that court and just. Ugh.
I also feel like I had this sort of, like, kinship with, like, Nishinoya.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like me and him have
You
similar
just vibe,
personalities.
you know? Yeah, I
and
get it,
so
I
it's
get it.
like,
But yeah, I think that's some. Do you have any other questions you want to talk about, or?
no, it was the only one. I just kind of wanted to know what you thought you would be.
Yeah, I think setter. I think I can see that. Okay. I also out of the characters I relate the most with. Okay, who am I most like on Karasuno?
I feel like you're a mix between, like, Tsukishima and, like, I'm trying to think of, like, maybe, like, a mix between, like, Tsukishima and, like, Hinata.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Because I feel like you have your moments where you're like, yeah, like, and, like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
so, like,
Into
it. And then, like, you know, you're like, huh.
I really thought you would say like a combination of Tsukishima and Kageyama.
I thought that
Oh
for
no,
a second.
no. Actually, I was talking to a couple friends the other day at Hideaway, and we were talking, and they're like talking about Black Clover, and they were
Uh-huh.
like, "Yeah, like who's everyone like?" And so we were pretty much like, "Oh, you're definitely like, well, I don't remember what we said. Like we are like, oh, you're definitely Asta. You're like this character, and then one person's Gauche, and then one person's like,
One person's Gauche.
One person's like, I'm Gray, and I was like, which version of Gray? She's like, like Gray, but he hasn't got to the part where she's a little girl, and so everyone else is just like, okay.
They're like, which version? And you're like,
They were like, Matt, like, you're not, you can't fit one person. And then I was like, yeah, like they're like, you're probably the most similar, but you're just like, you're not like a mate, like you're not a prodigy at anything. They're like, you're not like amazing at anything, so like you couldn't be that character. And I was like, yep. Sounds about right. They didn't mean it rudely, but they were right. Like,
I think like personality-wise, you're probably a mix between like Tsukishima and like Hinata.
Yeah, I can see it. I have like two personalities. It's like Tsukishima, asshole, and then I got like Hinata, who I'm trying to be the supportive friend.
Yeah.
It's like a little balancing act. But as my friends are quickly realizing in my life, I got my like old reliable friends that have known me for like years,
Mhm.
and I got my new friends that are like, who is this person? Like we are two versions of the same man. But yeah, so that is Haikyu.
Wait, I've been waiting to review this one, so I'm so glad we
Dude,
did
yeah.
it.
Like, thank you, Chase Lorenz, for telling us to review this.
Also, thank you, Maddie, for drawing it last week.
Finally.
And
It's-
actually watching it like before.
I know, I liked Haikyu. It's good. But we should do our music recs.
Yes.
You want to go first?
Yes. So I was I was thinking about the music rec, and I'm gonna do this one because I wasn't sure if I had already done the other one that I was thinking of, but I'm gonna do like Hinamoto Umaru-chan. Opening hamster.
The hamster one.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the song. How does it go? I just can picture it. Oh, I love it. I can, anytime the opening pops up on like an opening quiz, I'm like, oh, the hamster anime. I love that one. That's a good one. I'm going to recommend a weird one.
Okay.
I've never seen this anime, but I love the opening. Neon Genesis Evangelion's first opening.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good one. I just love the first opening part. Da 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 da. It's iconic, so I wanted to recommend an iconic opening.
Yeah.
We are running out of openings to recommend. And
I know. I'm having
music.
to go back through and actually like look at the ones that we've already recommended.
Yeah, I should really write this down for us, shouldn't I?
I need to write it down just for myself, so that
can you that's our task this week. Can you please write down all the openings we've reviewed?
Yeah, we need to like have it posted like right here,
right
so
here.
you know.
It's slowly getting updated. But yeah, so do you want to shamelessly plug?
Yes. So hello everyone, this is the part where I shamelessly plug our Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. So our Instagram, TikTok, Patreon is all Bingers Anime Edition, the name of this podcast that you know and love. Our Twitter is Anime Bingers. Check us out. We post
Please.
About updates when episodes are coming out and what episode is coming out.
Yeah.
So if you're not sure, check that out.
And if you guys want us to review any requests or anything, please message us on Instagram. Donate on Patreon. We'll definitely do those things for you guys.
Yes.
So, or just talk to us. We're here to talk to you.
Let's talk about anime.
We'll be your side chair counselors.
What?
You know, like the people, like, what's it called? Like, side chair, like, you know, on the chair.
I have never heard that expression before.
Armchair detectives is what I was trying to say. But that doesn't make sense for this, does it?
No.
And I was probably trying to say armchair psychologist, but that's not an expression. Side chair therapist. There we go.
Okay.
Anyway, let's draw for next week. Mo, it's your turn to draw.
I know. I'm really hoping that I don't get a bad one.
Yeah, we've been on a good streak lately. Like, we did Steins Gate, Haikyu.
Don't jinx it, please.
What
Knock
did we
on
do?
that.
What did we do?
Knock on that top of the.
What?
To not jinx it.
We need to seriously update this this jar so we can get some of the good animes we've been watching in there.
Okay, I think I grabbed one of yours.
Okay.
Death Parade!
Yes! This is so... Dude, this is a 10 out of 10. January is a good month. It is a good month. I'm excited. This is a good anime.
Yes.
Should I rewatch it? It's only 12 episodes. I could rewatch it.
Might be beneficial to rewatch it because I'm gonna be honest, I kind of don't remember it.
Yeah,
I remember that it was good, but I don't remember.
I watched this right after I watched Promised Neverland.
Ooh.
So that was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
That was like 2 summers ago.
Also, I started watching the new season of Promised Neverland.
Oh.
First episode, immaculate. It's so good.
That's good. I'm excited. I'm gonna start watching Kandai Shinchinko. Jujutsu Kaisen?
Jujaki Chujiko. Did you know that the actual English name of Jujutsu Kaisen is called Sorcery Fight?
Why don't
like,
we just call it?
it?
Well, no wonder they kept it to Jujutsu Kaisen because Sorcery Fight.
No,
sounds
literally,
lame.
I was watching a TikTok the other day, and the guy was like, "I will never make fun of somebody now for saying like My Hero Academia instead of like Boku no Hero," because he was like the English name for Jujutsu Kaisen is Sorcery Fight, and he was like, "Why are we why?" He's like, "This is why we call it Jujutsu Kaisen, because why would you want to call it Sorcery Fight?"
Right? Like, what's some other animes that have just awful English translations?
I would have to get back to you on that because I can't think of any off the top.
We'll come back next week.
I just remember that because I saw it on a TikTok just not too long ago.
Dude, it's crazy. Anyway, we've been recording for way too long. Sorry, guys, for the lengthy episode, but please join us next week for Death Parade. It is a good one. It's a very introspective view on, like, life and reincarnation and after death and, like, suicide. Like, there's so many aspects of it covers and, like...
Let me tell you, it's not one. It's
You
a
know,
it's a very like it looks one way and then it turns out a different
yeah.
way.
And then you got like cameos from like Yagami in it and other famous
Yeah.
characters. Like, oh, it's a good one. But yeah, so thank you guys for listening. Good luck binging. We'll see
And
you
we'll
next
see you
week.
next week. Bye.
Bye bye.